So let's talk about how to actually go about doing the essay. And from this point on, you want to take notes. All right, you want to get the material you're going to see on the board down. And, let's go back to the question for 1 second, which, by the way, is up on the Google site. You can go up, you can click on this. This very question is sitting there waiting for you. So you can spend some time this weekend actually prepping for this. All right? And the question is, in a well-developed essay, please explain the author's main argument or opinion. You must agree or disagree with the author's argument. Explain 2 examples of specific evidence from the text that the author uses to support his argument. Explain why you agree or disagree with the author's argument. That's all you have to do. This is his argument. This is her argument. I agree with the argument. This is why I agree with the argument. All right? Now, normally I would say that's all I'd have to tell you about it, but let's go through this for the sake of making sure everybody knows exactly what it is that you have to do.
And for those of you guys who need visuals and need stuff to be structured and broken down, please outline. And even if you want to outline something this weekend, so that way when you come in on Tuesday, you could go straight to it, that'd be great. Because remember, you don't have that much time.
No.
I love using outlines. I don't know if Perry uses outlines, but it prevents me from wandering. Because if I don't outline, I'm just going to keep going.
No, even to this day, I do. I mean, it might be a brief outline, but it is an outline. All right? And that's, I even carry a silly little notebook to keep outlines in. That's just the way it is before I start writing anything. So if you're a person who needs that, do it. There's no shame in it. There's no problem with it. And you do have maybe 4 or 5 minutes to actually blow through an outline and then just write that way. You will be much more organized with this. Now, what I have here are basically what you need to include in your essay in order to guarantee that you get a solid grade. All right? And the first thing that you need to do in the introduction, and this is all the introductory paragraph. I'm running this under the assumption that you're going to write a 4-paragraph essay. 4-paragraph essay is normally about 1.5 pages long. Yes, you can write a 4-paragraph essay in a page, but honestly, you won't develop your ideas enough, and overall, the essay is probably going to not be what you need to get a solid grade. All right? So let's start. Mr. Pisano, slide over. It's just line of sight, man. All right. First thing, introduce your book. Include the title and the author. This is a must whenever you're writing about a piece of literature. You have got to include what it is you're writing about. Saying, my book was about is not enough. All right? You've got to say, in the book, Shoeless Joe, by, who wrote it? W.D. what?
W.P. Kinsella.
W.P. Kinsella. And that's what it starts with. Next thing, you need to explain the main idea that the author is trying to convey to the reader. You just came up with the main idea. Now explain it. What is that main idea? All right? And assume it's like a 10-year-old reading it. All right? Assume it's somebody who's not going to get something complex. And make it simple. I guarantee you, if you keep it simple, it's going to be more effective than if you go and you write some sort of ridiculously overblown, explanation. All right? The main character seriously disliked the secondary character because the secondary character was morally questionable and engaged in a lot of activity that the main character did not agree with. That's not simple. The main character didn't like the other character because the other character was a little bit of a tramp. Done. Simple, straightforward, no problem. Keep it simple. I keep trying to tell people this, and they always mess this up, especially the first time. So let's see if you guys can prove me wrong on that. Next, explain the main idea and then agree or disagree with the author's idea. A must, all right? If I walk up to you and I offer you a bowl of ice cream, vanilla ice cream, and I ask, would you like this, or do you like this type of ice cream? How do you convey your like or dislike for vanilla ice cream to me? Here is a bowl of vanilla ice cream. Do you like it or not?
I don't like it.
You don't like it. That's how you do it. Now, a lot of teachers say you can't use I. If you're stuck, you can use I. But how do you say I don't like it without saying the I in there? Go for it. Yeah, vanilla ice cream is not good. That's it. All right? you can say it like that. If you have some sort of hard time with that and you suddenly get locked in and you're like, I can't think of another way to say it, I agree. I disagree. It works, all right? You don't have to say it that way. That's all I want you to keep in mind. Now,
because a lot of people always write, like, in my opinion. We know it's in your opinion. It's your paper. You know, you don't need to tell us that, or I believe. Try to avoid those words. It makes your essay stronger.
the last one, 4, this is the one people always have a hard time with, all right? The transition sentence. How do you get from an introduction to moving into the body paragraph? You need a transition. You have to keep in mind, you need a transition. And here's an example of a transition, all right? The following examples will clearly prove my opinion to be true. Look at it. It's that simple. It's a little bit more realistic with this. And this is a direct quote. I would write this down just as it is, because this is a great way to end your first paragraph. The following examples will clearly prove my opinion to be true. All right? Done. From there, you can go right into your body paragraph, all right? Because the body paragraph is really what's most important. Now, your introduction, if you look at it, it's like 4 sentences. It's nothing. You bang this out in like 2 minutes. I know a lot of people get really hung up on the introduction. Stick to this. Title of the book, name of the author, what the quote means, what the main idea is, I agree, transition, boom. That's 4 sentences, you're done. Move into the body. And as you move into the body, you're going to notice. You notice I put paragraph 1 and 2. Why do you think I have paragraph 1 and 2, lumped in together here? Go ahead.
Because it's essentially the same thing using different things.
Amen, brother. That's right. It's the same paragraph. There's a very, very slight difference here. Very slight difference. All right, and now I want you to look at this, because I did this last night as I was sitting on my couch watching South Park. All right? This is exactly how you can phrase your essay. Now, this is not, like, you could actually just use this and fill in the underlined sections, and you're in pretty good shape. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. I'm not giving you a 100 essay for free. But here's a really good example, or some good examples of how you can actually do this. And look at it. It starts in the book, and you give your title, by, you give your author, the idea, and then you give the main idea. All right? Very simple. Now, this might take 3 or 4 sentences, but that's all you need right there. And it gets in there. All right? Is proven true in several ways. One example is, and then you give the specific example, and you explain how the example proves the idea to be true. Now, let me talk about my favorite summer reading, which was The Devil in the White City. You guys didn't read it. It was about a serial killer in Chicago in 1896. He went to the Chicago's World Fair. He killed like 36 people. All right? And they only caught him in the end because he was like a little greedy. Not only would he kill them, but then he would sell their bodies to like medical schools so they could dissect the bodies. I mean, the guy was nervy as all hell. So, but what was the main idea of that book? Don't trust strangers. Really, really simple. Everybody he killed, he met on the street with odd pickup lines. All right? And then he would take them home. He would pretend to fall in love with them. He would kill them. All right? So what's the main idea? Don't trust strangers. So if I were to write this using my book, it would go like this. In the book, The Devil in the White City, by Erik Larsen, the idea that one should not trust strangers is proven true in several ways. One example is when H.H. Holmes, the main character in the book, meets his first wife, whom he picks up at the Chicago World's Fair. He then kills her and sells her body to a local medical school. No, I'm completely serious. Actually, her body is still in that medical school as a skeleton. It's still hanging in the medical school. So if you go to a medical school in Chicago, there's a skeleton there, and one of those skeletons is his wife. Absolutely, it's totally nonfiction, which makes it even more terrifying than anything. All right? So, like, but look at this, all right? Clearly, when one meets a stranger, one should not immediately trust that stranger, because that stranger may actually kill you. I explained the example. I tied it back. All right? Simple, straightforward, easy.
Guys, see how concise it's been? There's no reason to summarize. I know a lot of
No.
people are going to get into that. This is what my book is about. This is what happened to Shoeless Joe Jackson. That's good, but we don't really care. Like, it's not the purpose of the essay, okay? You're just going to do extra writing for no reason.
Yeah,
Don't summarize.
we've read the book. We're not asking for a book report. We're asking for you to explain how the main idea is conveyed. That's what it is, all right? Now, that's it. Now, you see this section here? It's sort of underlined twice. The real meat of your essay, the thing that's going to get you the good score, is going to be your ability to give your detail and explain how it proves it true. All right? Now, I talked about H.H. Holmes's wife. If you meet somebody, marry them 3 months later, and then they kill you, does that prove that one should not trust strangers? I just need to say that. All right? That's it. And you just need to explain it. This is the thing that most people forget. They just forget to explain it. Guys, take the 5 minutes during the essay and explain it. All right? Now, the second paragraph is as simple as this. Another example that proves this idea true is give the example, explain how it proves the idea true again. It's complete repetition, all right? But it backs you up, all right? Now, I always say, and I'm sure Mr. Pisano agrees with this, you give 2 examples. Because what happens if your first example is wrong? If your first example is wrong, I'm going to immediately go to the second example and see if you know what you're talking about. And if you do, you're still going to get credit. If not, that second example is going to prove that you don't know what you're talking about. You want to use 2 examples just as a safety net, all right? Would you jump out of a plane wearing 1 parachute if you could wear 2?
No.
I certainly would not. When I did it years ago, when I was younger and much dumber, I had a dude strapped to my back, he had a parachute on him, and I had one on the front. And he said, if I scream, pull that handle on the front. And he said that just as we went out the door. And when we got to the ground, I actually said to him, do you really think I was thinking of anything? I screamed the entire way down. It's a great video. It looks like this. That's all. Didn't look at anything, didn't see anything. I screamed. I couldn't speak for a week. All right, that was it.
He had the camera on his watch, right?
No, they had it here and sticking. This is like in the late 90s, so this was like sticking out. Yeah. They'll never get me jumping out of another airplane unless the airplane is like spinning into a mountain. I've done it. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know why I don't like it?
All that blood rushes to your head when you're upside down.
I've got plenty of blood in my head right now. I don't need extra. God. You know, I don't know if I trust you, Mr. Pisano.
The one off that dam in the beginning of 007 in Switzerland. I was excited.
You're out of your mind. Oh, but you're still young,
Yeah.
right? Like, what are you? Like, how old are
Kids,
you?
no wife, not
Yeah,
nothing.
okay, that's it. Yeah, you're young. You'll get over that crap. All right, conclusion, which if Mr. Pisano keeps jumping off of things, he will reach a conclusion much sooner than he probably should otherwise. Conclusion, how do you end your essay? Another thing people always have a hard time with is ending this essay, all right? So the conclusion, it's repetition of the introduction, all right? That's all it is. The idea, restate your idea. The idea that one should not trust strangers is clearly proven true through the above examples in the book Devil in the White City by Erik Larsen. Do you notice something about that? It's a maximum of 3 sentences. Clear, concise, to the point. All right, that's all you want. You want it clear, concise, to the point. Now, that doesn't mean not giving enough detail to support what you're trying to say. And I want to make this clear. Concise means saying it as effectively as you possibly can. That's all. All right, it doesn't mean not giving details. It means not giving extra details that aren't necessary or details that have nothing to do with proving your point true. All right? That's what you need to keep in mind. Now, if you look here, keep it short and simple. This essay should be 4 paragraphs. If you need to go 5, you can go 5. If you need to go 6, in fact, you can set it up any way you want. But what you have to make sure of is that you get the 2 examples in, you make sure that you explain the main idea, and you agree with it. And if you notice, I backed up everything I said in the introduction in the conclusion, because I believe that everything should have a backup. All right? What if they missed it in the beginning? Here it is in the back to save you. What if you didn't say it clearly in the introduction? Say it clearly here. Each part of the essay is there to make sure that you are safe when you write the essay. Take advantage of it. You know, that's what I want you to be able to do here. And this is going to be our mantra for the year in a lot of cases. Keep it short and simple, which means make it as long as it needs to be to answer the question. People ask me that question all the time. How long should the essay be? As long as it needs to be to answer the question. That's what it comes down to. Sometimes it needs to be 3 pages long. Sometimes it needs to be a page and a half. Sometimes it needs to be a paragraph. All right? And ultimately, if you don't follow those directions, that's when you wind up losing points. All right? That's really what goes on with this. All right?